Hi, I'm Jill from the blog timeonourhands.com. Thank you for watching this video. Recently, I've been working on trying to make our living room a more comfortable spot for my husband and I to hang out in. So first, I built a fireplace TV wall. So now we've got a nice cozy fireplace feature and we've got a place to keep our TV. And the next step was to build cabinets and bookshelves on the walls beside the fireplace wall for storage and things. So I've already built the cabinets and now I'm really excited because I'm going to add adjustable shelves to them so that I can put all the stuff that is in the old cabinet that I had to move to the kitchen that's been sitting there for a few months and is just gathering clutter. So I can move that stuff into this cabinet and organize it. So that's what I'm going to do today, is add adjustable shelves to my cabinets, and yeah, let's get started. The first thing I do to make adjustable shelves inside a cabinet is drill holes using a Kreg shelf pin jig. I've had this Kreg shelf pin jig for a few years now. I think they cost around $40. I like it because it's easy to use. It makes the holes even and the correct depth, and it's basically just this plastic jig, and then you get a bit that goes in your drill, and it has a little guard to make sure it doesn't go any deeper than it needs to. And then you can also use this, but it goes in like the bottom hole so that you can put that in the last hole that you drilled, and then you can just keep drilling up or down. And it also comes with this, which I've never used because I only have one jig, but connects more than one jig. If you had more than one, so you could just go right up just with the holes. It has a piece that goes on either side to like hold it on the edge so that it doesn't move. I'm not sure where mine is. I actually don't use that piece a lot. Yeah, so all I'm doing here is, I mean, the holes don't really have to be perfectly like spaced or anything, but I just want a row of holes near the back of the cabinet and a row of holes more near the front. And I could just use my jig like this, but I wanted my holes a little bit further to the front, so I just got a piece of scrap wood and am using that to kind of space it just a little bit more. And then I'm just holding the jig up against it and drilling the holes. And then on the front, I do the same thing. And then I just hold my jig against the piece of wood and I drill my holes. And of course, you don't need holes all the way down here because you're never going to put a shelf down there. So I just started mine up here at the last hole, and then I just use this little place marker here in the hole that I drilled, and then I just keep going up and doing the same. Just trying to make sure that, you know, this will be clamped anyway, so this won't go anyplace, but just trying to hold everything tight because you don't really want your shelf pin jig to be too wonky this way or that way, because then the holes won't be even. Always start your Kreg jig at the same height, whether you're starting it at the very bottom of the cabinet or if you're using a piece of wood as a spacer so that you can start the holes up higher. This will ensure that the front and back, left and right vertical rows of holes that you're drilling start at the same spot and therefore are equal, ensuring that your shelf will be even at the end. You don't have to drill holes all the way to the top, just as high as you want your top shelf to be. Okay, does this happen to anybody else? I have like 10 measuring tapes and I can never find one of them. Oh, there it is right there. I had just found this. My husband actually got me this thing for my pencil because I could never find my pencil. So I think actually I probably almost need something like this for my measuring tape, but I see it right there. Okay, I got all the shelf pin holes drilled in the cabinet, and next I'm going to go cut some shelves out of 3/4 inch pure bond plywood. Okay, to cut the shelves for these, I actually already had ripped down some plywood to about 12 inches, which I think is what I'll need, but then I'll have to cut the width. So these are the shelf pins that I like to use. I don't know if you can see this or not. Let me see. There it is. So that goes in the hole, and then this holds the shelf. But this right here is maybe a 1/16 of an inch. I'll have to measure it. So I have to make sure that I have enough room to get the shelf in there to fit with that sticking out, and also just a little tiny bit of wiggle room. So that is a 1/16 of an inch. So I need to cut it, so I'll have one in each side. So 1/16 of an inch, so 1/8 of an inch just for these things. And then I'll probably do another 1/8 of an inch just for the wiggle room. So I'll measure this, which is 19 and 1/16 short of a half, which would be 7/16. So I'll take 1/4 inch off of that to account for the pin that sticks out and to give myself a little bit of wiggle room. So that will be 9 and 3/16, or excuse me, 19 and 3/16. As I mentioned, I had already used my circular saw and Kreg rip cut tool to cut 4x8 sheet plywood down to 12-inch widths. Here, I'm using my circular saw and Kreg AccuCut to cut my plywood to the lengths that I needed for shelves. Technically, you could stop here because now you have your shelf pin holes, your shelf pins to put in the holes, and your shelves to put on top of the pins. But there are a few more steps that I like to take to make this project a little more finished. The first thing I like to do to make my plywood shelves look a little more polished is iron pieces of edge band onto the front edge of the shelf. Hold the edge band where you want it, and using an iron on high heat, no steam, press down on the edge band for a few seconds. This should melt the glue on the back of the edge band and tack it in place. You should be able to move the edge band at this point if you need to recenter it. Then continue ironing the edge band to the edge of the wood until you get to the end. Use a scrap block of wood or a veneer scraper to press the edge band down onto the wood. After that, I sanded my shelves and edges well with 220 grit sandpaper. This is a step that's going to make your cabinets look finished, so do a thorough job. I also like to sand on the inside of my cabinets where I drilled the shelf pin holes to get rid of any extra little wood splinters. Then I finished up for the day by vacuuming up my mess. I like to apply polyacrylic to the shelves and inside of the cabinets to help seal and protect them. I follow the instructions on the back of the can and apply 3 light coats with sanding in between using 220 grit sandpaper. Hi, I'm back and it's Friday and I'm going to attempt to finish up this task that I started at the beginning of the week. So, this is the cabinet that used to be in my living room and had my TV on it before I built my TV wall. And it has been sitting in my kitchen for a couple of months now. It was already full of stuff, and now it has just become a dumping ground for everything else. So today I am going to declutter and organize the stuff that I am going to keep back into my new cabinet with the adjustable shelves. So I'm feeling really overwhelmed because it's overwhelming just to look at this mess. But I also get overwhelmed by having to make decisions about what I'm going to keep and things. So, well, I'm just going to start by emptying this cabinet all out and separating it into different categories, things that I'm going to keep, things that I'm going to get rid of, and things that are garbage. Okay, that wasn't that bad. That took me like, I don't know, 10 minutes or so. I've already got the top cleared off. So I'm feeling pretty good. So that was interesting. The cabinet is empty now. Next up, figure out what I'm keeping, or I guess what is going into the new cabinet. Now all I have to do is insert the shelf pins into the holes at the height I want my shelf to sit at in the cabinet, and slide my shelves into the cabinet to sit on top of the shelf pins. It feels so good to get that old cabinet and mess out of my kitchen, and the stuff that I kept organized and stored on my new adjustable shelves. Thank you to everybody who watches our videos and likes and subscribes and leaves comments. We really appreciate it. And don't forget, as always, you can find more information and links to supplies for this project at our blog, timeonourhands.com, linked in the description box below. I'll see you next time when I'll be building built-in bookshelves on the living room wall that I've been working on. Have a great day.